So hey, we got it on. Yo, I'm back from me again, and a little bit of an explanation, but not too much of an explanation. I've sort of gone through that process of thinking this through. So I've missed you all terribly so. There has been so much going on, so much that I sort of felt coming down the line, not sort of felt strongly, as a lot of you know, felt coming down the line, went into fruition, unfortunately for some of it, but it came to a point of realization where I needed to do, I'm always going off. I need to switch off at times to be really deep in my present, in the present around me, on spiritual conquest, spiritual retreats, spiritual expeditions, and physical. You know, I need to zone in sometimes. When you're hearing a lot of things coming through various frequencies, when you're connected into that energy of being a conduit for a lot of messages, then you know it gets noisy at times. It does. So there's that about me anyway. But it came to a point where and again it's something that we need to look at and be very, very aware of, in that there was a day, there was a lot happened, some that I'll go into, some that I won't, where there was a day that as a mother, my cutoff point and my 0 point had been reached, and that it became very apparent that these factions of organized little groups of groomers and abusers are all over the internet, and they are taking it for all it's worth. There's the grifters, there's the paid grifters, there's the paid opposition. This is different. These are people that are taking full advantage of the wild west of the internet, often that wild west of the internet that parents aren't truly aware of, to the extent and the reach that it has right underneath your nose. So there'd been some warning signs and intuitive, like, oh, moments for me leading up to this day. And on this day, I had to say, we're going to have to do a tech cleanse, which I can tell you now, in this day and age, sound like an old granny, but in this day and age is one of the most difficult things to do. When you've got children that are connected in and you want them to be, for all of the good things that are happening and all of the good uses that we can have with technology. But, you know, these children are, there's an aspect of this technology that has truly reached into their DNA. And so it is very difficult for them to be without it. And the systems that we've allowed to be built up absolutely demand, in one way or the other, that you use tech some way, somehow. And so it is very difficult, especially as a single mother, but any parent, to make that call where everything gets packed up in a suitcase and is taken away from the house. I won't go into it too much because some of it is personal to somebody else who is not yet an adult. So I want them to always make the decisions, and they have the autonomy to make those decisions as and when. Which is another thing why for years now, once I really got that message, people will not see pictures of my children online, although I want to show them off, although I want people to see their peachy, beautiful faces, because it would make anybody smile. And it did, until I realized that, oh, this is going somewhere where I'm not actually going on consent as to where this technology can go to, and I'm sharing their images, their shapes of their faces that can be mapped by technology that is being used today on the streets everywhere. So I made that decision, and as you can imagine, the house was in uproar. I want to warn people that there are organized groups of just sick individuals that are out there that are grooming children in the gaming chats, Discord. They are setting up groups that are, how would you say it? I'm stroking you, sorry. What's glorifying suicide and having children make suicide pacts with other children. 30, 40 plus year old men openly admitting that age, encouraging that, and messing with kids' minds, kids that don't quite understand it. And it was serious, there needed to be intervention to detach from that energy for this person, for my family. So I did a complete tech cleanse. I've been able to hop on my phone every now and again. Right now, financially, as a single mother, I'm having to make the decision to make this video and let you all know what I've been doing. And I realize I've been inundated with emails. I think I've got about 600, no lie, emails that I've got to get to. More, I haven't even looked in Facebook. So I know, and I really appreciate the love and care, and I know those that on my soul tribe are there no matter what, as I am for them, connected through tech or not, you feel them. But this is one, I feel you are owed an explanation because of that love and care that you have for me. And two, because I love and care for you, I want to give this explanation and hopefully have it reach the right ears of who else needs to be aware of this, or who else has had maybe intuitions about something like this going on right within their home. And this is the reach of this technology, in that we've got to be so much more switched on than, in the 80s, in the 90s. Kids were playing on the street outside. A stranger came in the street, you saw 10 mothers there, quick as a flash, before anybody said anything, just watching, having their cup of tea, making their presence known. Right now, it's a case of you can be sitting downstairs and upstairs, there's a whole world of horrors going on right underneath your nose. And so we do have to be very tuned in to that intuition as guardians, and not be doubtful of it, and never play down the importance of you never underestimating this reach that this technology has given very bad people the capacity to do. I feel that there will be storylines, there will be news lines, which are always delayed, coming out later down the line, that are connecting these organized groups of people, of groomers, that are glorifying suicide to children. I think it is another rising sick way of people who are beings that are so distorted, that are so disfigured, are doing en masse. And it's happening right underneath our nose. And I think there are going to be quite a lot of storylines. I keep saying I think, I know, but coming down the line of just how many suicides are happening and connecting the dots to it being a lot of groomers causing this to happen, making other children make suicide pacts with other children. It's a doozy and it's happening. And so for me, that was, you know, my line with children. That was the sacrifice. And that sacrifice meant that we all did it, that we all went through it, that we all detached ourselves from that. And you can imagine the colouring in books, the difficulty in, you know, in making sure they're coming out with me and doing things to occupy their mind. And the system, you realize, unless you have, unless you live in a very rural place, the systems are so entrenched now that the options there for occupying a child's time are very limited. Like, you know, my mum, she did so well to make sure that we had like yearly family tickets to like Alnwick Castle and things like that, and museums, and going around all of the really cool caves in the UK where you see the most beautiful crystals. They were my favorite, couldn't get me out of them. She did so well, and my dad did so well, but my mom was in the driving seat of making sure that we were cultured. You know, we mixed with people who had you know, the best restaurants, the best hotels, so we ate the best cuisine. And then we also mixed with the kids in our cul-de-sac on our street, you know, to play. We had a very varied childhood as far as occupying the time and learning how to speak to other people. And I'm proud of my kids that they're able to adapt and do that. But it's a very different time, it really is, in such a short space of time in the grand scheme of things. We have done this like quantum leap with very blind eyes, with blinders on, of allowing such a difference to take place without keeping some of the old ways. And that she could do that, my mum and others, because for the majority of the time, at no cost, at no peril, we were playing in a cul-de-sac where she could hear us, see us at all times. You know, different parents took turns to have their cup of tea at the door to make sure everything was, you know, going smoothly with all of the kids. And so the ability to, you know, we got shouted in at tea time, you know, when the street light came on, that was it, bang, you had to be in to eat, to bathe, and then go to sleep. This technology is entrenched in their DNA. These kids can text like this with both thumbs, like, did it, you know, fast. They can do it from being toddlers. They can do it, you know, so fast. It's like it's just there. They've known it from being in the womb. They felt the frequencies coming from the phones, from the laptops. They've heard the noises. They are in it. So you can imagine, it became very apparent to me that, wow, this is difficult to put into words, of just how noisy these kids' lives are, and the perils that are seemingly less perilous because they're not outside grazing the knee, or they're not outside breaking their arm because they've fallen down from a tree. They're just more insidious and much more dangerous, in that it's like if you have a wallet in your back pocket, or a purse, you know, in your bag, you've got much more of a chance of feeling somebody coming up to take that wallet or sift through the contents of that purse to see your details, to be able to garner information on you, to be able to hold you to ransom in some way. Somehow you have much more of a chance of stopping that from happening. Even just the barrier of there having to be physical contact is enough of a deterrent most of the time. So, you know, people aren't getting mugged every day. There's the same people every day on the same street. It's not happening. But with tech as it is, and children as they are, it's you don't even need to have that physical touch, but it gets into the consciousness. It's there. So what I found for me, and I want to say thankfully, as you know, I'll never give up on children. I'll never give up on my children. And thankfully, everybody is really good now. And I'm making this appearance now because, again, financially, I need to. And I need to balance the structure of the family in order to sustain them. It's only me sustaining them. But also, where was I going with that? Yeah, everyone's good. Everyone's whole. Everyone is cleansed, grounded. There's equilibrium. What I did find for me going through this process, because it was like we were doing this as a team. This wasn't a punishment. This wasn't anything other than a mission of salvation, of you know, making what had been happening stop, and thankfully nipping it in the bud quite early on. So this was no punishment. So it was like, we're doing this as a team, we're doing this as a family. You can imagine little Theodorable was not happy, and was the classic Aquarian barbarian that you all know and love throughout the whole process. He saw it as a punishment. But for me, going through this process, as much as anyone else going through this process with me during this time, it's been very telling, in that things can be noisy, frequency states can be noisy. You have to learn to tune some things out. You have to learn to switch off at some days. But you realize when you have this total cleanse of tech, that noisiness of billions of people's consciousness, their thoughts being boom, boom, boom at you all the time, in various different formats, in various, the guilt where you don't get back to messages in time, the guilt because you haven't, you know, responded to certain statuses, all of that buildup is huge. And it's not until it's taken away that you realize that, oh, wow, this feels strange. We are being drenched. We're being enveloped by constant transference of data, constant transference of pummeling you to try and get a response, to try and get a reaction, so that the algorithms can suck that data back up and feed you something else. But what is happening a lot of the time is that that data is being sucked up. It's like a blood transfusion for consciousness, taken up from you, your thoughts, your worries, your fears, your wants, your loves, and being sucked up. And you think they're in private messages. Nothing is private. It's private maybe that the other people on your wall can't see it because it's a private message, but it is not private to this living algorithmic being that is fractalizing into its own beings that you know, it mirroring the human experience, you know, breaking up into small parts, but the sharing this data, and then having that data, like any cells that have been taken out of your body or blood, as it has been over the last few years, as I warned prior to that coming, it's distorted, it's disfigured, it's bathed in acid most of the time, for how toxic the internet has gotten. And then it's delivered to you. And because it was from you in the first place, and because they've not taken that away and just given it to someone else, they're distorting it and pushing it right back to get that reaction, to try and get you to be hooked in fully to the system, to be, it's the religion, it's the new religion, like the guilt is huge. I felt that en masse and thought, wow, that is one huge factor in all of this guilt, this overwhelming guilt of not being responsive in time, not being this, not being that, not being present on that platform, and it's like, whoa, what are we doing to ourselves? What are we allowing? But that is religion. You feel guilt that you haven't tithed enough. You feel guilt that you're not good enough. You feel guilt that you, you know, haven't. You feel guilt if you attain monetary wise. You feel guilt if you don't, because that means you mustn't be pure enough. You feel all of this guilt, fear. It all creates control. That's all religion is. And this techno religion, this tech religion that's being created, it's got people hooked in. And ironically, a lot of this, when I've come back online, and this is the first appearance online, I wanted to put you, please don't do that to the microphone, Mit, is that it's being saturated by organized religion, because that they know that people are already hooked into that, people who want to push that, people who are getting donations for that, they already know that that is a blueprint that works. It's the same blueprint. So the same blueprint has been taken up by this living or algorithm, this growing consciousness that is fractalizing into independent consciousnesses. You can feel it when you come back on tech, that you can feel the different algorithms fighting one another now. You can feel the noise. And so the overwhelming noise when I've come back is very apparent. And it was during this process that I was able to pull a lot of these thoughts, these feelings into context. And a while ago now, I kept feeling them building this other realm that is just the same as the realm that they built of heaven and hell, to have people coming round in a spinning wheel, you know, seeing what they're predictively told they're going to see, and not being sovereign, truly sovereign enough, or knowledgeable enough to be able to still walk their own path beyond this physical body. They're not even needing people to die first in this, because with that prediction, a while after that, this metaverse comes out and other verses come out. And these are universes that are built of consciousnesses that are literally locked into another pipe dream, locked into another savior outside of self. And the noise that I'm feeling, the noise that I'm hearing from that realm, those places that have been built specifically to absorb consciousness, to upload it. It's not comfortable. People are stuck. It would be it's an overwhelming feeling in that a lot of these people, some of which have been passed over the last 2 years, and you can feel this stuck energy. And this again isn't going to be a popular message. And sometimes I think, oh, just why can't I just, you know, speak about the fluffy stuff? Well, that's not what I'm here to do. And obviously that's not working, is it? It's a balance between the two. For my role here, for what I know, for some of the aspects that I know that I'm here to do and be and hold space and time for, it is something to really contemplate. It's something that I'm really having to think about, in that this is a whole new realm of a lot of people screaming out for attention, screaming out a lot of consciousness, screaming out for attention, screaming out for a guidance, a guide, a way out, the same way that you would sort of speak to a spirit transferring from this physical body into their next place. And it feels like an impossible task. There are so many. There are so many. And it feels like echo chambers, just consciousness is banging off these invisible walls, but walls nonetheless, of algorithmic code holding them in a place that is literally built. It is a trap. It's a trap. And so it's something that I'm really still working out. I'm still working out that where this goes. And the words, they know not what they do, keep coming to mind, in that these things have been built for control and power over others. And already this realm, these realms feel fit for bursting. Like you can't control life, you can't control energy. Things get distorted, things get fucked up. And things are really fucked up in those realms, in those spaces that have been created. And there is so much noise feeding into that, in like the echo chambers of Telegram, of, I presume, Facebook, Instagram. I haven't checked them out yet. What's the other one? Twitter. The toxicity in these echo chambers is unreal. The misogyny, the sexism, I'm just going to say it, even if this gets right, the pedophilic content, and these are people that are shouting, for the most part, these are people that are shouting that they're against what's happening, they're against but they're feeding into the very thing that is the very thing that those of us that mean what they say are against, that are fighting, that are with, that are standing for. It's crazy making. And there is a lot of crazy going around. I mean, fuck. So when it comes to me having, it wasn't a sabbatical, believe you me. But when it comes to that, I make no apologies, because I think a lot of us have been feeling this way, in that we keep needing to go and unplug and recharge, because it's intense. It's intense. We've been in World War III since just before the announcement of the pandemic. not the pandemic that was not, but that has turned out to be a different kind of pandemic, which is a crazy making. And a lot of the things, like I say, coming down the line, it's we're there, we're in the midst of it, and it is this psychological war. It is using the people against the people, and they have done it so well thus far. They've managed to keep it in echo chambers, to keep it from the normal people who are angry with the government but are not in enough knowing, or aren't enough knowing, to stay on the outskirts and be ready. But be ready for what? Because the numbers are being absorbed by these echo chambers, by these algorithms, sucking them in, enticing them in, and the normies don't want anything to do with it, and that I don't blame them. So where do we go? There's lots to say. There's so much I've kept wanting to jump on here and say, oh, please watch out for this. Oh, please, and I haven't been able to do it. So there's a lot. And so I'm rambling about what this exit from tech has been and why, as much as I can say anyway. And I hope I've been able to say enough to get that warning across for anybody who has children, to watch out for these suicide pact gangs. They are out there. I know it's going to be an announcement either later down this year or into early new year. I know it's going to be something that has reached such a number that it can't be hidden in these small echo chambers anymore, that dots start to be connected of, hold on a minute, why are all of these children committing suicide or having thoughts about it, making plans about it, and we didn't get to that point, please don't think that, but that's where they were trying to get to. And no doubt they got to a couple of the other kids in that chat, the game chat group, that they had no business being in as adult males. You can bet your life, as far as I could, I sorted it. It's probably half a good job that I didn't have addresses, full addresses. What are you doing? It's probably, no, I don't think it is a good job. I think it would have been a good job if it did have full addresses, but we got it as sorted as we could be. You leave that necklace on. So yeah, that's where I've been. Keeping busy, making sure there was lots of outdoors energy. Yeah, that's where I've been. I want to say a big thank you to my friends and to my family and to everybody that I know and have felt and haven't been able to respond to. Family. I felt the support, I felt the love, I felt the strength, being able to draw that strength. People who I haven't been able to be in touch with for quite some time, I could feel you. And there's one certain person that I always made a pact from, that he could draw from my strength and I could draw from his, and I felt him too. That's amazing. And that is a mirror effect of what these algorithms are doing. And again, it could be used for so much good, but again, they're being absorbed. The algorithms are crazy at the moment. But we have this natural telepathic energy and strength and connection. We are able to do that, and thank goodness for that, for being able to hold space and time for each other that way. So thank you. I appreciate all of you. I am open again for readings. Thankfully, the teas are going good. I set up a new Etsy store. So that is there, DiviniteaStore. More stock will be going up. It's made an amazing turkey tail, rose hip, horse tail, and a yarrow salve that I'll be putting up there real soon. So yeah, I appreciate any of those orders. Thankfully, hopefully the postal system is going to calm down for a little while. As most of you know, it has been a nightmare in the UK with packages getting lost, and it hasn't been a short-term thing. This has been long-term. Susie Q will tell you that. I mean, they didn't even let it come into the country, I don't think. It literally hopped it out and hopped it. Well, they said that they hopped it in and hopped it out before anybody was even contacted about collection. So it's been long running, this postal service problem, but thankfully, hopefully we've reached got cat hair everywhere. We've reached a more calm state of being able to post things out promptly. So that'll be even better. You can get me at truedivinemedia@gmail.com. Now you can. I'm sort of, it feels quite daunting going back into that mailbox. I haven't done it yet. It just shows you, doesn't it? It's crazy where we've gotten to so quickly. So quickly. It's wow. It's wow. So I wish I'd been brave enough to go live. It feels weird sitting in front of the camera again. You know, I'm sort of looking at this little circle and I'm thinking, yeah, it's magic. It's like, you know, I apply the circles to certain craft that I do, and it's a powerful symbol. It's a powerful portal. It's and that's exactly what this camera is doing. It's absorbing my face. It's going to deliver my face to you. It's going to deliver my voice to you. And it feels pretty strange because they've applied such ancient knowledge to bring back such ancient technology in the present. And it can be used for such good. Hopefully this video can be used for good for those who needed to hear this as to why I've been away for a while. And if your intuition has been getting prompted, don't doubt it regarding this or a similar issue. But yeah, this circle, it's a powerful thing. They know how to create those lenses, those portals for you to be able to view and listen through, and even distort. You know, right now there's an algorithm out there that could change my voice to sound like, I don't know, Joe Rogan, and I would sound exactly like that. So it's weird sitting in front of the camera. So thank you if you've survived this long through this ramble and this yeah, it's strange. It's strange to come back. It's strange. So I wanted to go live, but I wasn't quite brave enough, because you know me with tech, if you followed me for any time, any length of time, it takes me a while to get to remember again all of the things that it took me so long to learn. It's an uphill thing for me with remembering what to do. So I didn't want to get too flustered. I'll do a few test lives before I go fully live. One other thing, and I will clip this off if I can figure out that way of doing it, or I will do another video just on this, in that often I'll, especially when I was doing the public speaking, I'll give these things that come through, and that's it. Once they're out there, actually it's other people that can be more precise and remind me that Jenny said that prompts me more so to think, oh, that's why my spirit's churning. So in a primary school, the children, Theodore came out really freaked out. And Theo doesn't get freaked out easily. But he's very zoned, as you all know who've followed me, he's very connected in, he knows what he is, he knows who he is. So they are doing a practice lockdown. And in this practice lockdown, without any warning to the children, the lights had to be turned off, classroom door locked, or a table put in front of the classroom door. And the children had to get under the desks as quickly as they could, as quietly as they could, and stay quiet until the teacher said lockdown over. When one of the kids asked if, like, why are they doing this? A lot of them were nervous. It was just a practice. No letter was sent home to give the parents any heads up of what was going to be done and how they could you could explain this to your child as to why this was necessary. No verbal warning was given via the teacher to any parents. No text message, no nothing, no letter, no nothing, no newsletter, no nothing. Just pushed on the kids that day, as and when then, just he was freaked out. When my spirit was gripped, when he was telling me, and I'm saying, oh wow, making the right noises to not freak him out further. It wasn't until I was saying to somebody and they said, Jenny, you said that at this talk, that I realized, yes, I did. And there are this war that is developing. There are bombs going off that aren't bombs, but some might be, that are going to start firing off in the UK. And it won't be long before there is some sort of MK Ultra mass attack or shooting. There is a reason they are doing this with the children. The IRA type, days in the 80s and stuff, when Metro Centre, big shopping centre over here, was on high alert all of the time, and it's that type of energy. And Russia, China, Iran, they aren't necessarily going to, yes, there is that, the live strikes being fired off elsewhere, but live strikes are being fired off from within ranks in America, in the UK. I don't know why Australia's coming to mind. They're being fired off, and it is to create an unrest without having to even cross a border, and a weakness without having to sacrifice any of their own soldiers. So it is a very compact attacks up and down the countries, and we've seen that with the trains in America, and I'm so sorry for the people who are being affected by that right now. It's like it's like an Agent Orange attack. It is exactly the same memo. And I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't some sort of excuse coming down the line of like a COVID wave in those areas for them to be able to test people to see what the effects have been, because yeah, they might not have wanted this to happen here. This is an attack from within, from without, so to speak. But we may as well see what this shit does to the body. Everything's been an experiment thus far. We need to collect the data. And so, you know, testing centers don't look very far off again in parts of America that will look very much like the COVID testing centers, but they will be testing to see what different effects this has had on the body, because they may as well get the data while they can, you know. So my heart's with you for those that have been affected by what happened. Truly, truly so. But yes, be aware of that in the UK, that they are going to be doing pockets of schools, not too many schools in one area doing it at any one time. So there's not too many parents rising up and saying, whoa, 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 what memo did you get that you're not giving to us, to make you think that this is necessary, to make you think that this is a requirement. That is not the nicest look for you, mate, to make you think that this is what you need to do with our children. So be aware of that. I don't know what you do with that. I don't know. I still don't know what kind of conversation I have with you about that. I don't. He's 8 years old. What do you say? You know, I'm still muddling through that one. Any advice? Welcome. So leave your comments. I appreciate them even before they are there. I love and appreciate all of you that have held space and time for me. Do not think it is not received with gratitude, ultimate gratitude. And I'll be back. I will be back. I have to be back. I need to financially get digging in again. I did it as long as I could to do what I needed to do, and now needs must as a mummy to provide, you know, so that's where I'm at. So we'll be back, and I will see you all on a live. I just need to do a few practice runs first, and I'll see you all again real soon. Much love, much balance, and much wholeness in this chaotic realm as it stands where we are. Mwah. Do you have been any more in the face, mate?